But the
Yeah.
fact is that people have been reporting these things for quite a long time.
Right.
And there's
And
actually quite a lot of evidence.
yes, and a lot of these videos that we're seeing, like this one here, are come from the government. And they
Right,
are scrubbing out the secret information that might be
right,
connected to this video because it comes from some secret platform that is taking the video. But
right.
so yeah, so even the government has video of things that it absolutely cannot explain.
Yeah.
And I think it's extremely interesting. Like, I'm not afraid of the idea of aliens at all.
Welcome to another episode of the Bloomburg Democrat. I'm Sally Taylor. This is my inquisitive younger brother, John Daniels. And we are going to sidestep some of the more egregious current political events of the day to talk about something that's probably largely gone unnoticed
Oh,
because of those political events.
yeah.
And but it's really interesting. And it
It is
kind
really
of
interesting.
it fits both of our nerdy kind of side, right?
Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of little like side topics that I've been reading in the news lately that I think kind of go along with it. I think it's good.
Yeah. So let's say what that event was. And it was
All right.
really a congressional oversight committee hearing.
Yep.
And they titled this hearing Restoring Public Trust Through
Mm,
UAP Transparency and Whistleblower Protection.
yep.
So tell us what you know about that, John.
Well, so this is something that I guess it started years ago, not so long ago, but I remember it happening, so it couldn't have been that long ago. And the government decided they're going to start just releasing some information about UFOs. They don't want to call them UFOs anymore, and there are reasons that I've learned since then. And those reasons are essentially like UFO has a stigma about it. You say UFO, people think aliens. And so they want to kind of distance themselves from this um, because they want to try to take it seriously. And if everybody's immediately jumping to aliens when there's no evidence for aliens, they don't want to still discredit that people are having these experiences, right? That's
So
fine.
what do you think it is, though, John? Is it aliens?
Well, okay, so I saw a related video on YouTube on Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson,
Mhm.
and I thought for sure he was just gonna Neil deGrasse Tyson specifically because I like him a lot and I agree with a lot of the stuff that he has to say, and I really liked how he kind of rebooted Cosmos. I'm a fan of Neil deGrasse Tyson, but he suffers from personality issues that a lot of really intelligent people have in that they just kind of want to be right all the time and they will state opinion as though it's fact, right? And so sometimes I hear something out of his mouth and I think, oh God, here he goes. But a lot of time it's really good stuff. And so I thought for sure this time it was just going to be, it's a trash bag. And that was going to be it.
Right.
But but it's not at all what the his podcast was about. And it was they had someone from Arrow, which is AARO,
Right.
which is a Pentagon based
Right. It's the organization that takes in all of
organization.
these sightings and reports and then is
Yes, yes.
supposed to investigate them, right?
Yes, yes. And I've heard good things and bad things about this organization. But this video that they did, it was good PR, I would say, because it seemed like they were stating that they were trying to do these things methodically and impartially, and with the purpose of first just recognizing that when people come forward with this type of thing, they're usually quite genuine. They're not trying to mislead anyone, even though they may not have all the information that other people might be privy to. And so I thought that was quite good, even though in this video that specifically regarding the House Oversight Committee with in regards to UAPs. Um, there were a lot of witnesses who testified to having seen things and then reported it, whistleblown, and had then received poor treatment even from Arrow. And so while I don't discount what they're saying because the government is quite good at discounting people, um, I feel like maybe it's not everyone in the organization, right? Uh, I don't know. I think they're probably trying to do good stuff, but at the same time, people who are perhaps predisposed to believe in aliens might come across very forward and strong in their opinions, and they might, as a result, feel dismissed. It's hard to say. But anyways, so I thought this this committee that they had, and you can see video from CBS. This is what I watched. They
Yeah.
showed the highlights, and it was really good, interesting stuff. And they showed some very interesting videos, um, and videos that I thought, at least up on first viewing, very hard to explain. And it's quite interesting that that the U.S. military has decided they're going to start shooting at things that they don't know what it is. And so they shot at something that seemed to be traveling quite fast. And considering how fast a Hellfire missile, which is what they shot, travels, I think this object was moving rather quickly, probably not airspeed. And yeah, it was a very interesting video. Like I'll just to give a quick description. There's an orb glowing. Even they describe it as glowing. I didn't realize it was glowing at first. I just thought it was reflections. But it's a glowing orb traveling across the ocean water around Yemen.
Hmm.
And there were two Predator drones that were following this thing. One of them was recording video all along the way, and the other one decided to fire a Hellfire missile at it. And it seemed to kind of bounce off or glance or perhaps maybe
Even
miss,
break
except
apart.
there was some sort of
Well, no,
debris.
there looked like there was contact, and maybe it was the missile that broke apart.
Yes, possibly.
Um,
I think so.
yeah, and
Because the
if you
other thing seemed
like,
to just kind of like
yeah,
warp and then continue along its way, right?
right. Yeah, if you like, I can pull this up
Okay,
and we can actually show this as
please
part
do.
of of our recording today.
Representative Burleson presented a video of a UAP being struck by an American Hellfire missile.
I want to cue up a video that I've been given.
The
Here it
UFO
is.
can be seen on an MQ-9 Reaper drone's camera, rotating over the
That was a
water
Reaper drone.
before being struck. If the thought of shooting a UFO with a missile wasn't crazy enough, the video then reveals that the unidentified object continues to fly on, seemingly unaffected by the powerful weaponry.
This is when it zoomed out, so you can still see it traveling.
Okay.
Okay, so you can find this video all over the internet, and you can find maybe like a slightly better quality where like they slow down and stuff. And so yes, the debris perhaps came from the Hellfire missile itself, which seemed to just carry on after it near missed or collided or whatever. It just kept going. And to me, it looked like the Hellfire missile, perhaps as the object is here, the Hellfire missile was kind of coming in, and then it kind of slightly went in, right? It's like a guided
Right.
missile.
It is.
And so
Yes.
it looked like it took a little maneuver to get right at the thing, and then still managed to not really do anything. And
Right. It
it
didn't
then
damage it
continued on
enough
its
to
way.
drop it into the water, right?
No, no. And perhaps the Hellfire missile itself was damaged, and then this debris seems to follow the device that's flying
It
through the air.
does. It Do you
Yeah,
think that would yeah, so see that did make me wonder if the debris was actually from the thing that was hit,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Or was it just because of the momentum of the missile and the object? I couldn't tell. But
Or
I agree it
perhaps
seemed
there's
to
some
follow it.
static field, or who knows? Like
Who
it could be
knows?
any number of
It was
things.
unusual. I agree
Yes,
that
it
the
was
debris
extremely
seemed to
unusual.
follow. Yeah,
Yes, and it does seem to spin as well. I thought when I was watching the video, it didn't seem like it
yeah,
was just a reflection that stays stationary in regards to like
right,
its location
right.
in regard and into correlation with other things. It seemed like it was moving independently and yet still following this device. And it's a very interesting video.
Yeah.
And so this video podcast that they did on Star Talk. I do recommend it, um, because he explains that like 40% of the cases that they have received, they've closed. 57% are still open. They're still trying to figure out what's going on. And then about 2% are just things that they absolutely cannot explain. And so, how many reports have they received? I do not know. But if it's 100,000, 2% of 100,000 is a whole lot of things that
Quite a
they
lot.
absolutely cannot explain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's really interesting, this whole thing. Like, there's a lot of related videos that you can watch that are um, connected. But, and then of course, if you start watching this stuff on YouTube, you're very quickly going to get a lot of UFO equals alien type stuff popping up in your feed,
Sure.
and a lot of conspiracy stuff is going to pop up as well as it
Right.
has in mine.
And unfortunately, I think there is a great deal of fake video
Yeah,
out there.
sure. Yeah.
And so it's really hard then, because we are in the era of, all this high-powered AI video
and stuff.
creation.
Yeah.
It is a more challenging to know what's real and what's not. But the
Yeah.
fact is that people have been reporting these things for quite a long time.
Right.
And there's actually quite a lot of evidence.
Yes, and a lot of these videos that we're seeing, like this one here, come from the government, and they
Right.
are scrubbing out the secret information that might be
Right.
connected to this video because it comes from some secret platform that is taking the video. But
Right.
so yeah, so even the government has video of things that it absolutely cannot explain, and I think it's extremely interesting. Like, I'm not afraid of the idea of aliens at all. And
I'm not either.
and in this committee, they ask a lot of the ex-military witnesses who are, you know, how does this video make you feel? And they all say like afraid. It doesn't
Afraid.
make me
I saw
afraid.
that. I
Yeah,
noticed that as well. The
that's
only one
crazy.
who wasn't afraid
Yeah,
was the reporter.
exactly. Yes. And maybe that's ignorance, perhaps. Or maybe it's just people who are trained to always see threats are gonna always see threats, right?
Well, I think that has a lot to do with it. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and in reality, if this is the if, right? I know what I already think, but if
Hmm.
these are vehicles, objects from higher intelligent populations that have made it across, to this location, they've been here for years and years and years,
Yes,
maybe
most likely.
millennia, and they've
Possibly, yeah.
not harmed us,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
They've
And
done no damage.
this video that we just watched, I mean, we shoot it with a missile and it doesn't like retaliate, right? Well, this is
Exactly.
assuming that it's a volition or somebody in it is a volition or controlling it is a volition. But like, we attack things that are showing no aggression towards us, and that's a little bit crazy. Like, maybe it's just kind of, can we hit it? And so they try to
Yeah.
hit it. I don't know. I mean, curiosity, but don't be curious with missiles, perhaps.
Right. Well, and there's a lot of people who've been deep into this UFO, UAP world for a very long time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they've collected
And that
vast amounts
reporter
of
has.
information. Yes,
Yes,
yes. And
that's
so
quite
this
famous.
has, and a lot of things have come to light since the what was the act? The where they have to release information, release files.
Yes,
I've lost the
the
word.
Freedom of Information.
Freedom of Information Act. Thank you.
Yeah,
I just lost it for a minute.
yeah,
Since the Freedom of Information Act, a lot more of this has come to light.
yeah,
And it seems like uh, the evidence for me is overwhelming.
yeah.
But it's only just now that a bipartisan committee,
Yes. Oh,
this
so
is
this is
not
another
even
thing I wanted to
political in
say.
nature, right?
Yes, I know.
Bipartisan committee is coming forward to say this is important to look at.
Yeah,
And we need to protect the people who are talking about it,
yeah,
because they have been undermined by somebody for
yeah,
a very long time as well.
yeah, yeah. Yes, people who admit to seeing something that they don't know are often ridiculed. And I mean, they're not saying this because they're looking to become popular, because they're almost always ridiculed. And so it's it's because they feel like they saw something and it's the truth to them. And they just want to kind of get it off their chest. And I don't feel like these people are lying. They might be
Right.
misinformed. They might be ignorant of something. They might just have seen something truly amazing.
Right.
2% of people seem to be seeing something truly amazing because the government can't even figure it out. And they
Right.
don't even say that it's an open case. They just say this is something we absolutely cannot understand. It's unidentified. It's
Right.
anonymous. Anonymous.
And I would say that again, people who are deep in that world will say they've even been threatened. Their families have been threatened.
Yeah.
I mean, like it goes pretty deep. It goes pretty far.
Yes, it
And
does.
so then of course that raises all of these questions about, well, who's doing the threatening? Who
Yeah.
who who benefits from this not really seeing the light of day in a
Right.
very logical, critical kind of way?
Right. And well, I would say that even still, amongst that 2%, some extremely small percentage of people might just be schizophrenic or delusional or
Crazy.
something,
Yeah.
and they might be seeing,
Right. They might have a
uh,
mental
right.
incapacity. That's
They
a
might be thinking
possibility.
someone is attacking them when there is no one attacking them.
But that
Um,
is still going to be a small portion of the
a very
population.
small portion, and especially if they're already deciding that that there's some part that they just can't explain, then the people who are making these reports are probably not going to be
Yeah.
insane.
And
So
I would have to look up to see who actually has done this and when. But there have also been world leaders who have
yes,
acknowledged, yes, we're seeing these things. Yes, they
yeah,
exist.
yeah,
Yes, we don't know what they are, where they're from. They're not ours.
right.
Right.
I feel like I want
Um,
to say Nixon was probably one of those.
yeah, I want to say there was a uh, Israeli prime minister, maybe, or a high end
Mm,
official who also did the same. Of course,
yeah,
we've
yeah,
had
yeah,
a lot of our own military also acknowledge it.
yeah,
Um, and those people aren't crazy. you
yeah,
know,
right,
we trust them to help run the whole system.
yeah,
So I'm very interested in the fact that all of this is getting some attention, some coverage. Of
yeah.
course, like I said, it happened to be at a time when other
Ah,
big
so
events
so yes, let
occurred.
me get back to this real quick because the purpose of this committee is to like kind of restore confidence in the government. And I must
Right.
say, there were some very conservative people there who, on different topics, I disagree with very strongly, but I thought they seemed like they were being very open-minded on this,
Yeah,
which is
I agree.
interesting.
Yeah, it's
And
nice to come into agreement on something, isn't it?
yes, it is. And I suddenly thought, well, maybe this person's not as crazy as I thought they were, even though it's something that people think is like a conspiracy theory. So I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but
No,
I felt
John.
like I felt like these people are they're complex, right? And it did kind of restore some of my confidence in the government. And even though it's people that I on other topics will very strongly disagree with, on this topic, I would agree that it's it's not something that we should ridicule. It's not something we should just say, "Oh, that's nothing," because these are real experiences and these are actual things that are happening, and we cannot explain some of it.
Right.
And it would be really nice to be able to explain some of it, regardless of what the outcome is. And
Well, and I'm going to be honest, John, I
mm,
am on the pro alien side.
I am also on the pro-alien side.
Have you
I would
ever?
love to see aliens. I would love
Yeah.
to meet aliens. I would love to go for a ride in their spaceship and see the universe and see
Yeah.
oh so many wonderful things that occur in nature. That's what I would like to
Yeah.
do. But
Yeah. Well, have you ever looked up or read about the Nazca mummies?
I have a little bit. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
not like I've never deep dived into it, gone down a rabbit hole or anything like that. But yes,
Yeah.
I've heard of the Nazca mummies. They're
Yeah.
mummies
I
that
did a
have
bit.
oblong heads and
Oblong heads, 3 fingers, 3 toes.
yeah.
Um, and at the same time, there is kind of a large sort of human-sized version,
Hmm.
female apparently, also with an infant. And then there are some little tiny looking things that are something else,
Yeah.
but also bipedal and, 3-fingered, 3-toed.
Yeah.
They are whole organisms. The studies that have been done prove that they have
Yeah.
organs and they have ligaments and tendons, and they're not like the fake mermaids that were put together for,
Right. Well, this is something I want
carnival
to say because
shows.
we've seen a lot of things, um, especially from developing countries, where people will fake things and they'll take bits of
Right.
fish and they'll stitch it together into
To
other
a
things,
monkey,
and
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then they have their little carnival show or whatever they're doing with it. But
Right.
it happens, and
Right. Oh,
yeah,
these
I
have
don't
been
know.
x-rayed and scanned and, had samples taken, and the
Hmm.
DNA is not fully related to anything else they've seen,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And those have been here for hundreds of years,
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So none of this is for me. And some people may watch this particular episode and say, that woman's crazy. But
Right.
go look these things up
Yeah,
and
it's
then
really
decide
interesting.
for yourself
Yes.
if they're based in any reality or not.
Right.
I don't expect anybody to take my word for it.
Yeah.
I
Well, there's a
think
lot
this is,
of weird stuff that I can't explain,
yeah,
and it's super interesting just
yeah,
because it makes you think.
it
And
does.
it's a related topic is what's it called? Something Atlas.
Oh, yes. Well, so we were talking
Atlas
about
the
this a little bit earlier. There is
yes,
the three-eye atlas, which
three-eye
means it's
Atlas.
the
Thank you.
third interstellar object
Yes.
that they
Yes.
have seen coming through our solar system.
Yeah.
And this just showed up. They just noticed it in July.
Hmm.
They realized they had seen it in another image, but didn't know what it was back
Right.
as early as May.
Hmm.
But they first really saw it, recognized it for something unusual in July. And
Right.
it's an interesting thing.
It
It has
is.
been doing some unusual things,
Okay, well, this is another thing that if you search for it on YouTube, it's going to start coming up with like it's aliens,
right?
and it
And
may or
maybe,
may
but
not
maybe
be.
not.
Yeah,
It could just
most
be an
likely
object
it's
that,
not.
right, most likely. I don't know.
I would
I
say most likely.
hold any opinion on it at
It
all. I
it
don't
seems
know.
like this is a pretty common occurrence in the
I think
universe.
it's an object. I just think it's an
Yeah,
object, but it has some unusual behavior we haven't seen before, right?
yeah,
It has a glow to it that we've never really seen before.
right.
It's apparently not just a comet because it doesn't behave like a comet. They have
Mm,
had one of the three interstellar objects they've seen come through was a comet, behaved like a comet, looked like a
the
comet.
Uamura,
Yeah, well,
whatever
no,
it's called.
actually, it was a different one. Oumuamua was the second one. That one just kind of
Hmm.
appeared to be a really big rock,
Yeah.
right?
And I
Um,
read something that was saying that it was probably like the part of the outer crust of a planet similar to Pluto, really far
right.
out, and it just kind of gets flung off of the solar system of wherever it comes
Mm,
from, and then it just shoots through space. And apparently, this is something that happens relatively often
somewhat
as
regularly.
as
Yeah,
stars are spinning up.
right. But the three-eye atlas one is
Hmm.
made up of components that we really haven't seen in the same way before. Like it has a
Hmm.
lot of CO2 around it, which
Hmm.
is not common without actual water being there as well, but it doesn't seem to have
Right.
much in the way of water. It
Hmm.
has a lot of nickel, which we have
Hmm.
never seen without iron,
Hmm.
and it
Oh.
doesn't seem to have iron.
Hmm.
We're not used to having nickel show up without iron in these
Yeah.
space objects.
Hmm.
Um, so, and it glows in funny ways that we didn't anticipate,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
has an anti-tail on it. So it means that the corona around it that's being thrown off of it is going towards the sun rather than away from it. We don't understand why that would happen.
Yeah.
Um, and it's also, and this is probably coincidental, I'm going to assume, because I'm claiming it's an object rather than
Mhm.
something else, but there are people speculating it could be something else.
Yeah.
Um, it it's going by some of our larger planets like Jupiter, Mars,
Mhm.
which is not a large planet, but it's going to come close to Mars, and
Mhm.
then by the sun in a way that will give it kind of that slingshot boost, which we
Yeah.
do with our space vehicles.
Yeah. Well, I think that might just be due to the nature of gravity wells. The sun is it's kind of pulling down space-time, right? And so
Right.
anything that's going to
Right.
come around is going to kind of go and boom. It's just going to
Yeah.
kind of happen. If it's not going to go
Yeah.
straight into it,
Right.
it's going to probably
Yeah.
slingshot.
I think the people who are kind of speculating whether or not it's something other than an interesting rock are
Yeah.
using that as evidence that it's headed somewhere specific, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Sure. I think
And
that's
I'm not
how it
necessarily
goes, but
convinced by that at this point, but it is
yeah.
a really interesting thing that's
It
doing things
is.
we didn't anticipate.
Sure. Well, interstellar travelers as travelers. I have a thing against using words that have meanings that might imply additional characteristics when those characteristics are unneeded. Like, for example, you see in the news underwater structure or galactic structure. And a structure to me implies that it is something that someone has built. But natural
Right.
structures are not necessarily something that people have built.
Somebody built.
Yeah,
Right.
and not even necessarily organized. And so I feel like the word structure is poorly applied to these. There shouldn't be natural structures. It's if it's a structure, it's not natural unless it's made by humans. And
Well, what
because we're
word would you
natural,
use? What word would you use in
formation
okay,
or
formation?
I mean
That
like
might work.
there's plenty other words that we could use. Or we can make up a new word. I'm a
Or we
great
could.
fan of making up new words to describe new things
Right.
because then we don't confuse it, right?
Right. Well, structure does imply built, and
Yes.
built implies a builder.
Yes. Yes. And so I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of like interstellar travelers, even though I just used it simply because then we're thinking somebody's riding along. But but this type of a thing, um, it's only our third one. So we don't really know what is normal. Three is an extremely small sample size,
Right.
right?
Well, and a lot of that, I'm certain, has to do with our ability to detect them, right?
Yes, of course.
We've probably had
They've been
many over
coming for a
millennia.
long time. We
Well, we never
probably
see
miss
them.
a bunch of them. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're starting to get cameras that can see these things, and so we're starting to take notice. But
Right.
it's very interesting. And while I don't think this is probably related to aliens or anything like that, like I'm open to the idea. The universe is an extremely large place. There are parts of the universe that we cannot see and will never see simply because they're too far away and light cannot travel possibly fast enough to get to us before it moves further away. And
Right.
so if we cannot ever even see it, there's no way we can say that there's no one there that's kind of like us, right?
Right.
And
Right.
if for there to be life in the universe, we're looking at Mars even now. There was a recent discovery, is possibly what's it called?
Like a
Olivine,
bacterial type.
olivine.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of these minerals that are created primarily by bacteria on Earth,
Mhm.
and possibly under just the right circumstances where there is no life, it could also occur, I suppose, if you have just the right situation. But it typically occurs around life that we know. And so we found some of this on Mars. And so if there's life on Mars, it's not probably intelligent life. It's just going to be some bacteria living in a puddle somewhere under the surface.
But it
And
also suggests that life is not rare.
exactly, that's the important point, is
Yeah.
that it's not something that only happens here. It's something that could happen in hundreds of places, thousands of places, millions of places, even billions of places, because the universe is so large There are so many planets that we are aware of and that we're unaware of. And how
Right.
many of them can possibly support life? Well, we have life. So some fraction of these places can support life because here we are. And
Right.
so if we consider that just statistically as okay, this percentage can support life, then that means there's other life out there. And some of it may be younger than us, some of it may be older than us. It may be more advanced than us, it may be less advanced than us. And we may never come into contact with any of it. And maybe they can come into contact with us and we can't really come into contact with them. I mean, what can happen? Who knows? But there's a possibility. And I find that
Yeah.
very interesting and very exciting. And I love it.
Yeah.
That
I do too.
possibility.
And
Yeah.
for me, the evidence is actually already overwhelming. For me,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
realize other people will need more convincing than I
Yes.
do.
It's true. It's true. And for me, I would say as well, I'm really leaning, especially with these most recent videos, I'm leaning towards thinking that like it's somebody's visiting us, and in what way they're visiting us, I can't say. Is this a quantum projection of some sort? Like maybe it's not even physically here, but it's
Right. Well, I would
still
say
kind of here?
at least with that orb object that was hit by the missile, that seemed to
Yeah.
be a physical thing
Seemed to be a physical
because
thing, right?
it bounced, right? Yeah.
At
But
least
that
what we
said,
saw looked like it did, but
yes,
I
but
don't
I do want to pick up
know.
on what you're saying, John,
Yeah.
because our perception is within a very small spectrum,
Yeah.
but reality is far beyond that. So the
Yeah.
ideas that a lot of people have that some of these things are multidimensional in nature
Yes, yes,
is
it could be.
is a really plausible explanation for me.
Sure.
A lot, or sometimes maybe they are very physical, but they can be cloaked in some way. But a lot of
Hmm.
people who claim to see some of these things talk
Hmm.
about them popping in and out of
Yeah.
their visual perception.
Right. Right.
So either they're shifting vibrationally outside of our field of perception,
Hmm.
or they've got some other physical way of hiding themselves.
Yeah.
All of those things are possible.
Yeah. It's I mean, until we have really hard evidence, anything's possible.
Yeah. There's a lot of people claim that the hard evidence is already
I
here.
don't
For me,
know.
those Nazca mummies, that's pretty hard evidence. For
Yeah.
me, a lot of the things that are
Well, I would like to
well
know more about the
documented
Nazca
around
mummies.
Area 51, that sort of thing, that's hard evidence. Some of the video
Yeah.
that's been taken of like the lights over Phoenix, that's pretty hard evidence. There's a lot of things going on that
Yeah.
have been documented.
The lights that went over the U.S. Capitol were pretty
You're
interesting.
right, the Capitol, yeah, exactly, and
Yeah.
in a lot of ways very similar to
Yeah.
what happened in Phoenix. So yeah,
So
there's just piles and
yeah, but
piles of this evidence.
how hard? I don't know how hard it is because I try to always be skeptical. I try to always be skeptical because I don't want to just be fooled into anything, right?
Yeah. Well, but is there a difference between skepticism and cynicism?
Of course there is, and I try not to be
And
cynical.
right,
And some
and
things
when
I am
we
cynical, no doubt. I am down on the human race. There's no doubt about that.
well,
But
and so weight of evidence for me tends to become the thing that becomes convincing.
yeah,
It's like beyond a reasonable doubt level
right,
of evidence.
right,
And for me, I
yeah,
don't think that everybody has to have this position. For
right,
me, evidence beyond a reasonable doubt has already been shown.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
We'll see. There's more to learn.
I want to believe. I want to believe.
Yeah.
And I think I do. I mean, I've seen something I can't describe. I can describe, I can't explain before.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was very young, but I saw something. It's just the truth. So,
Right. And you weren't the only one who
yeah,
saw it at the time,
I
correct?
was not. Yeah,
You
there
were
were
with
two others.
others.
Yeah.
So
So,
that also helps kind of solidify the event for
yeah,
you.
right. I mean, it wasn't just me. I was like, you see this? Yeah. What is that? I don't know. Okay. I mean, we were all young
Yeah,
at the point, so yeah.
right.
I mean, it was something that we saw. It was really interesting. If you look up, you're gonna see some stuff.
If you look up, you're going to see some stuff.
Yeah, it's really
I'm with
interesting.
you.
Yeah,
All right, brother. Well,
yeah,
thank you for this really interesting discussion today.
yeah.
We will probably get back to more of the troubling aspects of the day on another visit, but I'm more
Yeah, I
than
needed a
happy to
break.
let it. I need to let it sit for a while too, because
Yeah,
it's just really not where
yeah.
I was hoping to see our nation and
Like,
the world
of all
go.
the crazy stuff that could happen, like if a UFO came and landed on the White House lawn and like aliens walked out holding up peace signs, I would be like, well, finally something good is happening.
Right. I'm
There's a
with you,
lot of
brother.
crazy bad stuff happening right now.
There is.
So yeah, we needed a break. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's nice to
All
look
right.
at science and
It is.
even
And
even the
this is science
slightly
that might have been otherwise
conspiracy type
missed.
stuff.
Right. Yeah. This is
Yeah.
science that somebody might have missed if they were too focused on the other things going on.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's good to get out some interesting
And it's
news.
nice to see people that you would otherwise disagree with agreeing with you on something and seeming like reasonable human beings who are giving respect to other people. So
Yes.
that's
I'm
really
with you,
nice
brother.
too. So
Yeah.
I appreciate all of
Maybe
the the
if
people who are involved.
aliens do come, maybe if they actually come and show themselves,
Yeah.
maybe that will bring us together. As long as we're
I
not
think
trying to shoot them.
yeah, I did have a little conversation with AI the other day, and it was basically in along the lines of like people don't do anything until it's too late, right? Like it has to be a dire situation before humans will respond to anything. And and we were I was the conversation was going like of course AI is a mirror, so it's just me kind of talking to myself,
Right.
but there's so much more information that even I don't have that's coming into the conversation thanks to AI. And so
Right.
the conversation kind of went along the lines of like, well, what if like what could we do to kind of bring people back together that used to not be quite so far separated, right? And it would be something that would have to be pretty traumatic. Um, a war might be able to do it, or global warming after it's really deep in the heart of it, that might do it, but then maybe it's too late. Um, or alien visitation might have something that kind of like, bring people together and be like, okay, well, we're all human, right? And
Right.
now we realize that like this is a thing. And so maybe there's stuff that's not so important, but
Right.
this is pretty important and we got to do something about it, right? It'll be that it'll
Exactly.
be that
Maybe
almost too
racism is
late.
stupid. Maybe
Yes.
nationalism is stupid.
Yeah. So an alien could probably do it, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would be super happy if that's what did it because wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I would be thrilled by that as well.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, brother,
Yeah.
uh,
But
we'll keep watching the government to see how they
let's hope
continue to
something,
talk about this topic.
yes, positive and nice brings us all together, like alien visitations that are not War of the Worlds, and
Right.
instead
That would
of
make me happy.
war and murder and all that terrible, horrible stuff.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
hope.
Till next time.
Yep. Bye.
If you enjoyed this content, please hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications.